Most people think over-explaining is just a communication habit.
Talking too much, giving too many details, not knowing when to stop. But that's not actually what's happening.
Because over-explaining isn't about words.
It's about fear.
And the interesting part is, it doesn't start in the moment.
It starts long before that.
At first, it looks harmless.
Someone explains something, then adds a little more. Someone explains something, then adds a little more.
Then clarifies again, then repeats it slightly differently.
Not because they forgot what they said, but because something inside them isn't settled yet. And here's what most people miss. Over-explainers aren't trying to add information. They're trying to remove doubt.
Not your doubt, their own.
Because in their mind, there's always a small question running in the background. Did I say that right? Did that make sense? What if they misunderstood?
So they keep going, not for clarity, but for certainty. And psychologically, this connects to something deeper, a pattern often linked to anxiety. The mind tries to predict and prevent negative outcomes. So instead of waiting to be misunderstood, it tries to prefix the misunderstanding before it even happens. But here's the paradox. The more someone explains, the less confident they start to sound.
It sounds like, what I meant was, just to clarify, I don't know if that makes sense, but...
And slowly, without realizing it, the message becomes less important than the fear behind it. Because this pattern usually doesn't come from nowhere. Maybe they were corrected often. Maybe they weren't listened to fully. Maybe they had to explain themselves just to be taken seriously. And over time, the brain learned something subtle but powerful. Simple isn't safe. So it adapts. It adds more detail, more explanation, more context. Not because it's necessary, but because it feels necessary. This connects closely to attachment patterns, where communication becomes tied to emotional safety. If being understood felt uncertain, then explaining becomes a way to secure connection.
And this is why over-explainers often feel exhausted after conversations, because they're not just talking, they're monitoring.
Monitoring reactions, facial expressions, tone shifts, looking for signs that say, okay, now I'm understood.
But that moment rarely comes, because understanding doesn't come from more words, it comes from trust.
And if that trust isn't there internally, no amount of explaining feels enough.
Over-explainers often don't realize they're doing it. To them, it feels like they're just being clear, helpful, thorough. But underneath that, there's usually a quiet belief. If I don't explain this properly, something will go wrong. They explain more, feel temporary relief, but still feel unsure. So next time, they explain even more. And over time, this becomes automatic. Sometimes it's about fear of judgment. Instead of communicating to connect, they start communicating to defend. Over time, the conversation starts to feel unbalanced. Shorter replies, less curiosity, more passive responses. And ironically, that's the exact thing the over-explainer was trying to avoid: disconnection. So what do? They explain more, trying to fix what feels off. But the more they try, the more the gap grows. Because when someone trusts their words, they don't feel the need to reinforce them. They can say something once and let it exist.
Without adding layers, without correcting it, without reshaping it mid-sentence. Maybe it's finishing a sentence and not adding another one. Maybe it's resisting the urge to clarify immediately.
Maybe it's letting a moment of silence exist without filling it, because silence isn't always a sign that something is wrong.
Communication becomes lighter, not because there are fewer words, but because there's less pressure behind them.
And when that pressure fades, so does the need to over-explain.
So the next time you feel the urge to add one more sentence, one more clarification, pause and ask yourself, am I explaining to help or to feel safe? Because that answer changes everything.